Is the thing on? Yes.
He is now late.
He's probably not German.
Surgeon hold Baron for a cheetah.
Stick. Add another chair. It's not my con. You tell me if there's none.
You okay?
What?
It's not a little rough.
This is my first one. I've only started into this one.
Please try to get a hold of Cheetah and send him to his trilogy link for his pet.
We were going to have me do this and have somebody get on the radio to Yerrick and say there's something wrong with the sound in A. But then we thought he'd have heart attacks. You know, is this a sponsored event? It's because there was apparently some confusion. One of the schedules didn't specify. That's what I was told. So if somebody shows up who's not a super sponsor, we'll leave.
Yeah, but that's what
If someone shows up that's not super sponsor, we throw them in the river.
That's my thing. And that river's turning into a highway.
Didn't even need to fill it up, huh?
Yeah, I know. You used to be able to walk across it anyway.
What's the anything we're supposed to do here?
What's this?
It's American beer.
They gave me this, and they gave me a glass. You know, fish fuck in this stuff.
I don't want to wash myself, I'm thirsty.
Well, the first convention wipeout was the time that the chairman was late for his own panel. I remember that. He looked like a real jackass that day, didn't he? And then when he walked in, everybody pointed and laughed at him.
Uncle Kyle, can you tell the story about the 2 spoons in the charity this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why there were 2 spoons in the charity.
Yeah.
The 2 spoons and the 2 American dollars were both me. But, okay, the American dollars, because they're worth a lot more today.
Thanks, Obama.
I can say that. The 2 spoons, the first suitors had the little jars with the little slits in them, but the slits are really designed for coins. And people were trying to push the currency down into them, and it was getting stuck.
Yeah.
And I discovered that the little teaspoons were perfect if you use the other end to kind of push the currency down inside. And it also would help with coin guns. So it was sort of like a ramrod and a rifle, you know, just kind of push it down in there.
I just used the 20 euro to push down the 50 euro. And then use 20 cents to push down the 20 euro. It took me almost 3 minutes, but
The spoon is immediate. I didn't know they were going to keep the spoons. I didn't think that they would think that was it. I was telling these folk earlier, I'm a little bit worried because we've been doing this like almost every year for a number of years. There's not that much shit that happens at conventions, and we might actually be starting to run out of things that...
oh,
You go first.
You're getting old.
Well, didn't I tell you what happened in Africon this year? Not yet. Would you like to know what happened in Africon this year?
yeah.
Nothing. No medical calls. No security calls taking people down to the police. No damage. It was like, it's like after 20 years, I think we finally figured out how to do this. So I'm like, I really don't have much to talk about it, other than, I talked about the first super parade. Okay. some things did go a little bit wrong. Epicon grew by 1,000 people this year. We went from 6,300 to 7,300. The fursuit parade went from 1,500 to 2,300. We had prepared for a parade of 1,600 or 1,700 people. Well, I don't need to be flaunting. Okay, then maybe you'd appreciate that with that many people, we were not quite ready for it. And our fursuit parade, it has turned into a city festival. The city itself embraces the fursuit parade, and people come down, and we close the street, and fursuiters go out in the street, and they start in a big hall, very much like Estrel 2, ECC 2 down there, the one that's not on the map. Anyway, they start out there for the group photo, which is taken precisely, exactly at the hour of 2 p.m. without fail, no delays. I'm just saying. And it's been my idea to put tape on the floor and have people line up on it. Finally, they stole something from me. But I got filmed. Shit. Specifically from BBF. So it's incontrovertible. Anyway, we managed to get enough tape on the floor for all the fursuiters, and we got the group photo taken. And this is something that we didn't quite anticipate because it didn't happen last year. The fursuiters went down and they walked around and people waved to them and everything, and then they went back upstairs. You come out of the hall and then there's a pair of escalators that go down. We have the venue just have both escalators traveling in the downward direction, and then the fursuiters get on them 2 by 2 and they ride down. We ran into a phenomenon this year that the people in the crowd didn't necessarily stay on the sidewalk where we kind of expected they would. They were running out to hug the fursuiters and pushing their children out and telling the fursuiters, hey, stop, let's get a picture. And that caused the line to stop. I was at the top of the escalator. And the reason I was at the top of the escalator was I was a gatekeeper. I was there with Alkali, if you're familiar with an American comic, Alkali, because of what happened last year. We had to make sure that we were able to remove people from the line if necessary. Like the gentleman who thought it was appropriate to incorporate the Confederate flag in his fursuit, which might not seem to you. Imagine if a fursuiter had a red fursuit with a Hakenkreuz on the back there. That would be nasty.
Whoa.
Don't ask, we had that.
That's the next
In
story.
Great Britain.
Well, it's the equivalent in the United States. And the people of Pittsburgh didn't appreciate it. So I wanted to make sure he wasn't in there. And also last year there was the gentleman, what do they call it? It's I think they call it Sentai, when they wear just all spandex head to toe. This man did not know what a codpiece is. Do you know what a codpiece is?
No.
It keeps you from pointing the way, if you know what I mean. He didn't have one, and he was pointing the way. I'm like, oh my God! It's too late. He was down there strutting his stuff, and all the little kids are going, ah! The parents are going. So I was at the top of the escalators, and I didn't realize that the parade was stopping. And at one point, I looked over my shoulder and I saw that there was a terrible traffic jam, and the escalators weren't stopping. And what we had was fursuiters on the escalators who were just continually marching backwards. Scott, that it could have been a wipeout, it just almost was. Tell me about this guy in Britain.
Not much to say about that.
It's always the British, isn't it?
You remember the Nazi joke I made during the First panel?
How could I forget? You made me spit my wine out. It takes a lot to make me spit my wine out. There were 3 guys in the front row who were wearing my wine. He caught me completely off guard.
Leisure Kage was joking about, I don't even know how it got to that topic, but he was talking about...
I was being a dick, that's how I got to that topic. You're not Cheetah.
You're right. I'm a replacement.
Oh, caution, wet floor.
Yes.
Grab a chair. Anyway, well,
Wasn't it you
are we allowed to say what we can say?
Yeah.
Okay. I was being a dick, and you mentioned something about being, I am Prussian, and I'm very proper, and I looked at him with a smarmy smile, and I said, so what did your grandfather used to do? And I'm all like, eh.
Please don't laugh, he died in a concentration camp.
I went, oh.
He fell off the guard tower.
That's when they were wearing.
You know, how
They killed me.
it sounds funny, but it's actually not true because he really died there, but he shot himself.
Okay.
The gas bill was too high.
Quick, save us.
Okay, hello, I'm not Cheetah. I'm the replacement. Cheetah is currently caught up in puppet show rehearsals because that's running late. I want her to still give some advice. Cheetah told me they should have known. And well, he also asked me I could give some kind of puppet show war stories or could just leave you whatever you're doing.
I
He
think we
might
need puppet show
join
war
later. So he said like at least 30 minutes, but he might not be in the mood then. Put everything away which can be thrown to the audience, so perhaps...
Please tell Cheetah that I now have $50 more thanks to him.
I
Got
might.
75.
I might, but only after he has slept and there's nothing in thrown range.
Okay, good idea.
We need a pulpit show Wipeout story, since we're on the topic. Go on.
Okay, I think many of you have probably seen the puppet show 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, that was one of the worst puppet show rehearsal technical breakdowns I have ever had in my time I've been with the puppet show. So me and myself, I joined the puppet show at Eurofluence 8. I think that was the time when we kidnapped some kind of American guy. Normally they do it the other way around, so we can also do this. And I've been with the puppet show team for many years, and you just get used to being there, delays and stuff not working. And so when you really get your stuff working and say, I'm finished, okay, apparently everything else broke in the time they waited for me, so now I'm waiting. Oh wait, it broke again. One moment, I have to fix it. And there are so many things to tell. We have a backstage camera which shows what's happening behind the screen. I'm not sure whether that's like classified material.
We had people do it back there, don't ask.
Not during the show, because we would have tripped over them.
Well, you had your hand in somebody and...
Continue.
Oh, it was a puppet, not a puppet.
Continue.
You always use loop.
Nothing. Enough. Thank you. Germans.
I was to play a puppet in the third scene, and the puppet was used in the
Tell
first
he's a
scene.
puppeteer. See what he's doing with his hand.
Yeah, you're doing this hand thing, which means you grow some muscles in like here, and nothing in like the rest of the body. And if you're not the main puppeteer, you didn't grow them, so it's like, I can manage 15 more seconds. Can you close the curtain, please? Ah, thank you.
You can tell he's not single.
I'm left-handed, by the way. Yes, also for that.
What do you think about me?
The thing is, we have this stands where we put the puppets on. It's basically a kind of rod which is vertically, and you just put on the puppet on top of it. And someone grabbed the puppet from the player, put it on top of it, and it stepped out the eye. And the puppet builder, Theo, he is printing the heads and gluing everything in and putting the fur on. And he was looking at it, was saying, when do you need this? It can't be repaired in time. It's just like I have to completely open it and rip open the fur and then I have to redo it. And And Mendra, who is very good at improvisation, he of course has his hot glue gun already ready. He said, when is this puppet needed? Well, the scene after the one which is currently playing, so like in 5 minutes. That's all I need, give me the puppet. And then it was my turn to grab the puppet. I went to the where it should be, it wasn't there. I was like, where's the puppet? Man was like, well, here, take it, but be careful, it's still hot. I ask later. Okay, it did work. I can continue?
Did you burn your hand?
No, luckily I don't put my hand in the eyes, I put it in the mouth.
Which is what gave you the problem in the first place.
Sometimes.
It's more than that. Raise your hand if you do not know what happened at the Paul Pitt show at Eurofurence 9 in the Czech Republic. Oh, good. Can I take this?
Freshman. Yeah, go ahead.
Eurofurence 9, we could probably do an entire presentation on Eurofurence 9.
How about what would you start? Flood?
Let's start with the background. Eurofurence had been in a different European Union nation every year. That was its charter. But for 3 years in a row, it was in Germany. And somebody, probably the French, complained. And it's supposed to be in the different EU nation every year, whereas the Germans inside month. So the Germans said, well, okay, who wants it? And the room was quiet. And then way in the back of the room, a little hand from the Czech Republic went up. And the Germans said, okay, Czechia. And everybody said, 9! Oh my God, the website message board was just exploding with people bitching and moaning. We're going to boycott the convention. We're not going to go. How could you do this? And I don't know these things. I'm a foreigner. So I got on the message board. I said, I don't understand. What is the situation? And they said, we refuse to go to the Czech Republic. And I said, you didn't have a problem in 1939. That kind of stopped that argument. But I think I found out. I coined the term Czechnology because now I love the Czechs, I respect them, but they were only recently out from under the Iron Curtain, and they were still catching up to the 20th century. This was already the 21st. But the electronics that they had for the Paul Pitt show were not working. They had wireless microphones, but if the wireless microphones got more than 6 centimeters away from the receiver, they're and Cheetah was so upset. I was backstage with him, and he said, we're going to have to cancel the Paul Pitt show. I said, you can't do that. No, you simply can't. The show must go on. And I said, you're German, figure something out. And he said, without the wireless microphones, we can't, no one would hear us. I said, do you have wired microphones? He said, yes, but the sound stage is at the back of the room. And I said, uh-huh. And how much wire do you have? Pardon me a moment. Were you there for this one?
Yeah.
So, what they did was they got as much microphone wire as they could, and they plugged it in at the sound stage in the back of the room, and they ran the wire over the shoulders of the people in the audience from the back to the front. I think there were 5 of them, or 6.
I think actually they moved everyone out of the tent and moved the whole FOH to the middle.
It was the middle, but that was
Because the
still
wires
as
were
close as
not
they could
long
get
enough,
it.
and
They-
then over the head of the persons.
That's right, they weren't long enough, so they had to move to the middle, but they still had the wires going over people's shoulders. Now, I was considered the distraction while they did all this. So, while they were preparing backstage, I was, I'm being Uncle Cotton, and I'm up. Now, you know that when I'm on stage, I have a tendency to move around a lot. I walk this way, and I go to this, and I do this, and everything. And I noticed I had a wave going in the audience, people doing this. This is fun. But they made the show work. So the electricity problem. What exactly was the issue? Why was it that Fairlight, one of the puppeteers, called to me when I was on stage and said, "Don't touch the light pole, it's undercurrent." I said, "Well, of course it's undercurrent. It wouldn't be a light pole if it wasn't." And I went to see what he was talking about. He said, "No, no, no!" Apparently in the Czech Republic, an electrician is not required to ground the circuit. So that's pretty much it, right?
In some way it was grounded. The tent did not have a floor, so everything was like the grass, and the light bulb was standing on the grass, so I assume that counts.
Basically, everything in the tent was energized. The light poles, the tent poles had 240 volts. And they had to station security people around all of the uprights to keep people from touching them. And that's when the thunderstorm started. Did I miss anything?
Well, the obvious question was, how did we find out?
There is a t-shirt. I have the t-shirt. The t-shirt is a tiny picture of a cartoon cheetah with his paw on a light pole and sparks shooting out of him and all his fur standing on it and his spots flying off. Apparently Cheetah was the man who discovered this situation.